For making these cutting boards, I'm gonna use pulper hard, this one, and maple. They are very hard woods, but easy to work with. After planing the wood pieces, it's time to sew the pulper hard strips. It's enough with 30 millimeters wide. At this moment, it's not important to use a zero clearance table insert, but if you sew so much or too much narrow strips, it's very convenient to use it. Now the following step is to sew narrow strips of pulper hard. Sorry, I want to say maple. After do that, let's see an initial preview. The following step is gluing all the strips, the pulper hard and the maple strips. It's absolutely important that all the surfaces must be plain, perfectly plain, and without dirt, without dust, without grease. Even many people think that it's convenient sanding the surfaces. I think if the sewing result is fine, this is not necessary. Maybe you realize that I use 3 little wood pieces to line up the pulper hard and maple strips. The reason is to make a flatter surface before planing it. Now we have to clamp the strips and let's dry it overnight. With my plane I reduce the thickness of the maple strips to the pulper hard strips. Now I'll sew one edge of the cutting board, it's a waste piece. After that we have to sew the final strips. Doing that we can get the edge grain surface of the cutting board. The length of the cut will get us the thickness of the edge grain cutting board. This is the final gluing process to get the end grain cutting board. At this time you can see that I don't use end grained maple strips. I think it's not essential, but in fact it's important, but I don't use it anyway. After this final gluing, it's time to clamp it and let's dry it overnight. Now we have to sew the edges of the cutting board to fix protection strips of waste wood. You must know clean this earth grain cutting board, but if you do that, you must put some protection side strips as I do, but see how the tear out goes on. Now I cut the edge strips and it's time to sanding and more sanding. First of all rod sanding, after that very fine sanding, and the task is almost over. We had to varnish the cutting board, but using food safe oil. This is my favorite moment. It's a very high pleasure to do this. The mineral oil, the wood, give us all its colors. Finally, you can see the result. A detail of the joint, the glue joint, is perfect. A side view and a comparative size of the endgrain cutting board. Thanks for watching.